All right, we are live on Instagram and Facebook. So, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
It's, it's Saturday, right?
It is.
So, it's Saturdays with Spirit. We have a lot of fun doing these episodes.
Yeah.
Jenna has never been on an episode, so she's new to the Saturdays with Spirit crew.
I am.
SWS crew.
Yes.
But welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Dallisa. I'm the CEO of Spirit and Spark. We're located in Las Vegas, Nevada. We help clients all over the world, though. Makes our job a lot of fun and very interesting. SpiritandSpark.com is the website. We do a lot of classes and private sessions, and we come to you every Saturday with meaningful content that you can use for your life and hopefully help you grow and elevate your vibration even more, especially as we're going through this great awakening, which we were talking about before we went live today. Maybe we'll get to a little bit of that later. But before we get started, our topic today is knowing your worth. And I want to go around the table and introduce yourselves. Let the audience know who in the world is sitting with me today. So Brandy, why don't we start with you?
Okay, I'm Brandy. I'm the Angelic Shaman and Reiki Master and teacher here at Spirit and Spark. And I love being here.
You love being here.
I do.
We love having you here.
I feel like I can spread my wings and fly.
Fly, fly. All right, let's go with Jen next.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Freer. I go by Jenna around here.
Jenna.
We have another Jennifer. I'm a yoga instructor, meditation instructor, psychic intuitive, and energy practitioner.
Awesome.
And I work here at Spirit and Spark.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Spirit and Spark is the place to be.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, Jenna.
Not to be confused with Jen F.
Jen
I'm
F. You're
Jenna.
Jenna.
Yeah. So I'm Jenna Doughton, and I've got to sit back like this so I don't chop my head off. I'm Jenna Doughton, and I am a fashion stylist and the founder of Style with a Cause, which is this women's movement designed to empower and inspire women through fashion and beauty because women struggle with worthiness.
Yes, they do. Spirit and Spark has been at the last few Style with a Cause. Yeah, Style with a Cause events in Las Vegas. She does this amazing fashion show and gives back to women to help them with their self-love and empowerment. And a lot of people come together for your events.
Yeah, they're really fun.
And is it October?
September, October.
Okay.
Stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff going on this year, so we haven't really decided yet.
Okay. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Perfect. And Jenna and I have known each other for a really long time. And I thought that she was the perfect addition to our panel today to talk about self-worth, self-love, because you do so much of it in the community with helping people understand their value. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you ready to dig in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. What does it mean to love yourself? Like, what does it mean to think, okay, I love myself? What comes to mind when we talk about self-love?
I'm effing awesome.
Yes, you are effing awesome.
No, I think that it's being unapologetically you. And I think not being ashamed or not trying to be somebody different, but just accepting that you've got something the world needs and being okay with the good and the bad and the ugly and realize that all of that in its packaging is supposed to be you.
Yeah. I think we're more alike than we are different people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I see it with clients all the time. They'll say, oh, well, I've done this horrible thing and I'm trying to forgive myself for it. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've heard this story like 15 times in the last month. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks like their dark harboring secrets or things that they've done are unique to them, when really, like, everybody's got something. And so I think you make up a great point. Yeah, what comes to mind when you think about, like, loving yourself?
I'm just going to agree with Jen here, is that you have to love yourself and unapologetically in forgiving yourself for the things that you can't change in your life. So really just embracing every moment of your life and knowing that you're not alone in that.
Lean on into our circle here. We don't want you to
know.
get chopped off in the video. Brandy's like going in like a whole other world over here.
I just feel like in order for me to connect or see with my people, I have to like do this, and it takes me out.
We want you in the video. That's the goal here. So yes, no, you can take. Come on,
I'm on top
snuggle
of
on.
Jen.
There we go.
Hello.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, we talk about like comparing yourself to other people, like how that is poison.
Yes.
This is your journey. You're not running in anybody else's race.
Right.
You know, just from personal experience, I just want to share a quick little example. We all make mistakes, and there was a time and place in my life where I probably wasn't making all of the best choices, but I harbored all of this guilt, and I was a totally different person. And then one day I just had to wake up and go, that's who I was 10 years ago, and I don't expect myself to stay stagnant. So why can't I forgive myself for the mistakes that I made 10 years ago that I've learned from, and just move on and let it go? I mean, I think the problem with loving yourself is we just can't let go of those times that we weren't 100% okay with our decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about self-acceptance. And for me too, my journey about loving myself has been investing in myself, investing in the things that I want to learn about, or because I didn't go to college, and so I've had a lot of guilt and shame because I come from a family who's all has degrees and veterinarians and doctors, and I never really resonated with that. But I resonate with going to learn about different energies, or learning about my chakras, or learning about yoga. I took taking 2 teacher trainings in a year, and a lot of people are, how do you have the money to do that? Or even myself was like, am I really doing this? But knowing my worth, investing in myself, the universe supports me. I know if I make a decision to get a cleaning lady once a month, like the universe is going to support me as long as I'm staying in that alignment of being true to myself and loving myself, and knowing that I'm worth to have the extra help or the extra knowledge, or the building a community that of women who support me and that sort of stuff. So acceptance, forgiveness, investing, traveling, that's a big deal too. I think a lot of people think they don't have the money to travel, or how can I do that, or how could I leave my pets behind, or how could I leave my kids behind, or all of that stuff. And just really knowing your worth, that if you do travel and you do experience those things, you're going to feel so fulfilled, and then that spills over into your life, and you're teaching your children and your pets those values and stuff like that. And so
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for anyone else on this panel, but I know, like, I've done stuff where I look back and I'm like, what were you thinking? But through experience and life and learning about myself, I can look back and go, not going to do that one again.
And it's part of your journey.
Yes,
I mean, we
for
all
sure.
need to make mistakes to learn and to grow, and we need to stop comparing ourselves to these perfectly curated Instagram feeds and everything, because they're only showing you the best sides of them. They're not showing you the mistakes and the life lessons that they've had to go through too.
For sure. I think we're here on earth to learn and to grow and to evolve, to love ourselves, to love other people.
Yeah, and to connect. And I think you can't connect with others until you're connected to yourself.
Wow, you've got a lot of sage wisdom, Jenna. Yeah, I mean, you've got to love this first. You can't really love other people until you fully love yourself.
Yeah. It's funny because people will hire me and they're looking for something, and the first thing that I ask them is, why did you hire me? Like, what do you want me to do as a stylist? And sometimes they're just like, oh, I've been a soccer mom and I just need to get it together and get out of sweatpants. And other times people are really broken, but usually we're broken because of something that somebody said to us in passing that had no significance to them, but it had the most profound significance to us, and they don't even remember saying it, and we've shaped our whole entire existence around this one thing that somebody said that made us not feel like we were enough in life. And that is a really sad thing to see, but it's a really profound experience to be part of, to watch people shed that and move those mountains away and kind of become unabashedly themselves.
For sure. I mean, I think we could all recall experiences where somebody had said something to us that made us feel less than.
Oh, yeah.
And some of us carry those threads for years through our life, and maybe it's still a thread that we're trying to work through. But I think that's part of the experience of being here and being alive, is we signed up to have these adversities, these challenges that make us look deeper within ourselves so that we can overcome them and be better people.
Yeah.
And then we can be better in terms of loving other people for who they are. I think the more you go through and the more you overcome those challenges, the less you judge other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're like, I get it, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So doing our own work is critical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some signs that you feel come forward when someone doesn't love themselves? Like, what are some signals when you maybe meet someone or come across somebody on your journey and you're like, wow, they really are not loving themselves? How does that show up, do you think?
I like to say grumpiness.
Grumpiness. That's probably a really nice way of putting it, huh?
Or people who, like to isolate or are very like snappy or not warm, or, if you're smiling at them and they're like, they probably don't love themselves because they're not capable of giving you love because they're not vibrating at that space right there. They're vibrating at a lower frequency. And so those kind of,
hurt people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's an indicator of like, oh, and instead of being like, wow, you're a jerk, like I'm going to flip you off or something, just being like, oh, wow, I've been there. You must be in some pain. Let me just still love you anyway. I'm going to still smile anyway because I don't need your validation for you to smile back at me, but I know that me being a love is probably going to help you on your journey or give you that space just to be angry and upset. And sometimes that's all some people need, is just to be themselves in that area, and then they're like, oh, okay, it's safe for me to be happy here,
I see it through self-medication.
Oh yeah.
Like either prescription drugs or alcohol or recreational drugs. It's that numbing effect, because then they don't have to feel what's trying to come up to the surface.
And I would say that I can see that in shopping, because some people numb themselves and want to be somebody different than who they are. But I see, as a service provider, what sometimes people will hire me for is kind of what you were talking about. Like, they don't have a punching bag, so they need to find somebody that they can go, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hire you and have you be in my space so that I can tell you what I'm frustrated about. But they're just looking for somebody. It's a control thing. They're like looking for somebody to manipulate and control. And there's a lot of passive aggressiveness with not loving yourself, because I think when we're passive aggressive, we're blaming everybody else for our own insecurities, but we're not able to see that there are issues.
Yeah, it's never about the other person. Never. Like, own your stuff.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I think you're getting really good with your boundaries. Like, it's good practice for boundaries. I think we all have to do that in the service industry.
Yes.
We all have to, like, stand up and say, no, I am not going to be the punching bag, and you're either here to work with me in a meaningful, thoughtful, authentic way, or it's not going to work.
Right.
And so we're all okay saying, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh. I think the people that need the most love are the ones that push us away the most.
Yes.
Only because around, especially people that vibrate at a very high frequency, they feel very transparent, and they almost get uncomfortable because they're not ready to acknowledge some of the things that they know they're holding on to that's causing them to be a little ugly, and hiding away and not, and hiding away and not accepting of love. And I think that if you don't love yourself, you don't know how to receive love either, so it blocks you from receiving love. So if I was to give anyone any type of advice on how to be more loving towards yourself, is go through your closet go through your own personal closet and not be afraid to examine some of the things that are blocking you from receiving love. So that is a huge thing. I know we can spend a lot of time on, but yeah, don't be afraid to go inside of yourself and do the clearing that it takes to create space inside your sacred space, your body, in order to make room for love to come in. So whatever that might be, and it's so different for everyone, and I feel like that's why we're touching on so many different things. But don't be afraid of what you'll find, and if you do find it, take the time to go through it with your special gloves, your the ones that you know how to nurture yourself at the right pace for you, and do it that way. You know, and there's no rush, and it's your own pace, and it's why we call it your own personal journey. And people like us here at Spirit and Spark, we have our own individual ways of helping you do that. So it's really just finding the right person, finding the right frequency for that. And if it's just you, then that's good.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that? So you're talking about the proverbial closet, and I go through the actual closet, and I always am telling everybody, like, we save our skinny jeans, and I'm like, why are you saving your skinny jeans? Because when you can fit into them again, you're not going to want to wear your old skinny jeans. You're going to want to go celebrate and go, I just transformed my body into something that I'm really happy about, and I'm going to go celebrate. And I think it goes back to your proverbial closet, where why are we hanging on to the old, trying to create something new and getting frustrated that we're not getting to the new? Because you've got to let go of that old to make space for the change.
Yeah. And also what I meant by old too is that it's old grudges, old thoughts and beliefs about yourself, old experiences that you might have gone through that maybe, as you said, that one person that might have changed your life. It's those things, those experiences, those thoughts about yourself. It could be a physical injury that you think might have messed up your life, but it didn't. And you have the power to heal yourself. And so I think that just figuring out whatever it is in you that ignites that spark to want to have change in your life, whatever it is, find that one thing to start with. You don't have to find the one thing that's going to encompass everything. You can just start with the one thing that comes to your mind at this moment. If you're thinking about that thought right now of, oh my God, I need to maybe forgive my mother, or I need to look at how I was raised, my culture, or, I'm really angry with my church because now I'm starting to think differently about religion. And, it's really valuing your own gut feeling about yourself and your life, and just reclaiming that, standing up for what you believe in.
Yeah, there's a saying that everything that it happens for you, not to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And learning to be the observer of situations, pulling yourself out of it being said to you. Like, I think that's what brought that up. Your comment made me realize that you can become an observer of people, of your interactions with others, instead of feeling like you need to be a participant. Mm-hmm. So then that can really learn how to protect yourself, and just say that I'm watching. If someone's being ugly to you or saying mean things that you feel are going to harm you're going to take it in a negative way, what you can do is just become an observer of the conversation and look at what they're showing you about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah.
Why do you think people have a difficult time loving themselves? I mean, it's definitely a different vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think sometimes people get stuck?
I think it's uncomfortable to start learning how to love yourself, or really be that intimate and love all parts of yourself, because we hang on to so many things that we were exposed to that we didn't love about ourselves. And so really diving deep and looking at it and whoa, I'm still holding on to that. And sometimes it's the same issue. It's just it's like an onion. You just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. But I think the biggest thing is the intimacy of like what it really is loving yourself. Like, what does that even look like, you know?
Mm-hmm. The most uncomfortable situation I've ever been in my entire life was getting photos done, and I'm like awkward around the camera, and I'm like, and I can't be normal. And I love pretty things, but I love being behind the camera. And one of the photographers that I was working with was like, sit with yourself for 3 hours and stare at yourself in the mirror. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And he was like, you just need to really be okay with being yourself and being with yourself. And it was this really profound experience. And I mean, I feel like I'm pretty intuitive and real with myself, but that moment was really one of the most uncomfortable moments I've ever experienced in my
3
life.
hours, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
I was trying to learn selfies and angles, and those pictures were horrible. But it was a really hard space to be in.
Yeah, that's why I think mirror work is so powerful, you know, like there are people who, you know, I've asked, have you ever looked at the mirror and said, I love you? And they're like, I barely even look in the mirror. So, you know, I think that really that's such a telling practice of like, if you go to the mirror, look at yourself and say, I love you, and what feelings come up for you? You know, what do you think? Are you thinking, oh, my skin looks old, or my hair, or I'm not the weight that I want to be, or I don't love myself, I just, you know, yelled at my son, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. I think that's just such a powerful technique of mirror work, is like really being honest.
On the subject of mirror work, I remember a technique that a shaman, a medicine man, shared with me. Instead of really not just looking at the exterior when you look in the mirror, but he told me to do this, and go to the mirror and don't look what you see on the outside. Go directly inside of your eye. Look deep into your eye and pay attention to what you feel when you are looking deep into your eyes. And that's the windows to our soul. And sometimes if you don't know where to start, that's a great exercise to do, because you're gonna all of a sudden just have a memory or a thought come up or a feeling come up, and you can just take that can be your first step. Just dealing with or figuring out, where is this emotion coming from? Or why did I just think of my mom when I'm looking in my eye? Why am I thinking of, you know, what is your first thought? What are your triggers when you look at in that deep inside yourself?
Yeah. I think we can all agree that when you don't love yourself, it impacts every single part of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it this morning, and I used to work in HR. And I would tell people, if you don't think that you're worth getting that job, they're not going to believe you're worth getting that job. So I think everything starts with the love that you have within, and it impacts every single relationship and person that you come in contact with.
Yeah.
Because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect anyone else to love you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you start loving yourself, your vibration changes, the light changes, and it's like people like seek you out. I mean, like, it's kind of like when I'm in a really good space, it's like I'm a drug to people, and they're like, I need more of what you've got.
And you're like, get away from me.
And I'm just like, whoa, but you can't deny that energy, and you can feel it. You can see the light and the vibration, and everything shift.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the law of attraction, you know, is very strong. If you, like we were saying, I was saying, holding on to grudges and holding on to anger and things like that, if you hold any of those energies in your aura or your energy field, you're going to attract the things at that same frequency. And so it's almost like the universe is going to attract it and intensify it until you just say, I'm done dealing with this, and then you give it up. Or you go in and you're like, you know, why do I keep getting triggered about this? And then you just release it. You literally do some type of meditative work or yoga, or you get some type of session that helps you release this, and you don't even know why you're feeling like you're releasing it, but you are. Then it falls away from your aura and your energy and the lessons learned, and then you stop attracting these negative things, which make you more receptive to love, more in alignment with love, loving yourself and loving others. And that's the way the universe works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think each and every one has their different avenue of how they connect with nurturing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, what do you think people could do on a daily basis to give themselves a boost of self-love? Like, what are some practical things that people can do? I do the gym, the stair climber, and the sauna. Even if I do it by myself, because it gives me a time out, which allows me to tune back into myself. So working out is giving myself love. But what are some other things that you think people could do to get in touch with themselves and love themselves more?
I think having a daily ritual is very important, especially when you first wake up. That's the best time to be able to set yourself up for what the kind of vibration that you want to have. So for me, I have a spiritual practice called a sadhana. It's a yoga workout. It's not a workout, it's just a yoga practice. And there's singing, there's chanting, doing those kinds of things, listening to music that uplifts you, journaling, gratitude journals, all of that good stuff, spending time with your pets. It's before you even get out of bed, what can you appreciate? You can appreciate the weather, or the bed you're sleeping in, or the person you're sleeping next to, or even if it's your cat on your face, you appreciate that your cat's on your face because they want to sleep with you. I mean, I may be the only one, but doing those things like singing, dancing before you get out of bed, or having your tea
Before you get out of bed,
you can wiggle in your bed. I meant after, but you can also do it before. I think that's a great exercise too. So doing those type of things just to spark that joy. Yeah.
I think vision boarding is huge. Yeah. And I also feel like focus on the positive. So when I was going through my dark time and I needed to shift, I had gone to this reflexologist, and he was like, you're trying to dim who you are, and you're the sun, you're Leo the lion, you're the sun of the universe. And when the sun dims from the universe, like, everything dies, and everybody needs your big personality. So I went home and I drew a big sun in my mirror. And then I wrote that I was the Leo, and I wrote all of these character traits that were really positive about me, that I wanted to focus on rather than the things that I feel like are negative. And I left that sun up for like a year and a half. So it was that daily self-talk shifted from, Jenna, you're to this, you're to that, to I am enough, and I am this, and I have so much of this that I have enough to share with the rest of the world and help lift them up too. And that was my big shift.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I like salt baths too.
I like being out in nature.
I like massages and foot rubs.
I could get behind that.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about the heart chakra a little bit more,
Okay.
And the energy of the body. So where do you feel like the energy of the heart, or getting energy work done to you, could be helpful in this process of self-love?
Definitely there's a benefit when someone who is an energy practitioner, that means that they're working on themselves, they are aware of what they're carrying, and so and then you tune yourself into your session, and there's such a benefit from being in a space, especially if you're not somebody who is used to having somebody who is higher vibrating at that level, to get a session where for an hour you're just receiving unconditional love. There's definitely, and there's benefits that some people can't even explain. I know one of my first clients, she didn't crave caffeine after her first session, and so things like that will start unlocking in your heart, because there's certain things that are vibrating lower, and so when you're receiving unconditional love, it helps that move, and so that's the benefit of being able to work energy healing wise. Yeah.
Do you think work on the heart energy is helpful in the process of having them be more in tune with the love for themselves?
Yeah, and I have to be honest and true to myself. I'm a shamanic practitioner, and so my job is not always just to talk about light stuff, although I try my best to keep it light, but I do know that the darker energies attack the heart chakra, and that's our, that's our way of giving and receiving love. And so to talk about the heart chakra, and how to keep that in alignment is really learning. And I'm so glad we're doing this on loving ourselves, because if you love yourself, you know pure love at its finest. And so you also then know when you're not getting it. When you're not getting unconditional love, that's your way of kind of just making yourself a priority and putting yourself in the line of people and places and things that align with what you know as unconditional love. Mm-hmm. So working on your heart chakra, those would be good things to do, is to put yourself in alignment with what you know unconditional love is, and just being the observer of the things that are not.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Perfect.
So we're in the earthly existence, so we can't really run away from it either. So then instead of being a part of it or playing a part of it or participating in it, making you think that you have something to do about it, there's nothing, you don't have to do anything. You can just be the observer of it. Mm-hmm. And that way you don't even get yourself involved in anything that is not in alignment with love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's give some folks some practical things that they could purchase, should they desire, like metaphysical products or crystals that you think might help with self-love. So, I always hear about rose quartz. We have a bunch of rose quartz at Spirit and Spark, and so we sell a lot of those because it's kind of maybe the go-to crystal for self-love, and you can wear it as a pendant or you can carry it in your pocket. But what are some other things that you think might be good for folks watching? You said
we said crystals.
Crystals.
Yeah, lepidolite. Lepidolite is good. It's a lithium-based crystal, purple color. It really does help with calming the nerves and helping with anxiety. Any crystal that is pink, purple, or green will help with that. So that kind of gives you an idea. Just if you're looking or shopping with crystals, anything pink, purple, or green will work really well with the heart chakra. One of my favorites, my personal favorite, is pink kyanite and kunzite, pink kunzite, and then green kyanite. Those are one of my two favorites for the heart chakra.
Wow.
I think you could, I don't know if you guys ever talk about dry brushing, but dry brushing.
I own one. I don't ever use it.
It's huge because it wakes up your lymphatic system, but it forces you to have, 10 minutes by yourself where you're just touching yourself. And if you could have that be where you do the positive self-talk. The other thing that I read that changed my life, there's 2 books that I want to talk about. On my spiritual journey was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life.
Yeah, and I think you brought a copy, didn't you? So people can see the cover of it. I think we all own it or we've read it.
I've probably bought this book for 30 people, and I usually have 4 or 5 of them at my house. So if people are at my house at a dinner party and they're like, I've never heard of that, I'm like, here, just take a copy. And I read this. It's a really quick read, and it's got a little glossary in it. And it talks about ailments that you're dealing with, and it gets pretty real. This is where you have to be really real, because I was having a lot of symptoms that were recurring in relationships or when I had toxic people in my life, and I never have had those symptoms since they left. And it was totally spot on. So whenever you've got a backache or a toothache, or you're frustrated, or you've got a cold, there's this little glossary that you can go back to and go, oh yeah, I probably need to accept that and let it go and move on. So that, because she kind of views everything as, what is the dis-ease in your body that's creating a disease? So I believe, a lot of the things that happen to our physical body are problems that we're not really addressing in our metaphysical existence. So there's that book, and then the hidden messages in water, which is Masaru Emoto, and he's a scientist that studied when we speak positively to water, it forms these beautiful crystal snowflakes, and when you say negative things, the crystals can't form, and it creates muddy, yucky, ugly snow. They're not even crystals because it's just like frozen water that's like ugly. And you can go and look this up on YouTube, like it's in What the Bleep. There's a YouTube video about it. But our bodies are 70% water. So what are the messages that we're telling ourselves every single day? Like, are we creating beautiful vibrational crystals, or are we creating really ugly, muddy, non-forming blobs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True story. I love that. I could just sit here. I'm just like watching you. There's another documentary called I Am. Has anybody seen that one?
No.
I think it's on Netflix. It's the guy that was behind some of the Ace Ventura movies.
Okay.
The really popular ones. And he talks about like the Heart Math Institute and the water molecules and how everything is connected. But that's a really good documentary for anybody that's watching today. So really good tools.
Yeah. There's essential oils can help too. Rose oil is a big one to you put it right on your heart. But also there's some like there's practices in yoga to do some heart openers. So if you want to go to a yoga class and do that way, just by rubbing your palms together, that's actually an opener for the heart chakra. And then after you feel that it's warm, you just bring it into your heart space, and then you just meditate on that and just be really aware of what's going on, because you're bringing in warm, positive energy. And we have meridians in our fingertips, our hands, our tongue, all of the things. And so that's some practical ways, that the affirmations. I really wanted to touch on the yoga stuff, but I'm done.
Tell me, okay, you know
Thank
this,
you.
like, what does Loka, Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu mean? Or I'm probably saying it wrong.
That doesn't sound familiar to me at all, but there are different, chanting, are you like talking about Sanskrit and stuff? Yeah, there's different, that reminds me. Okay, good. I'm glad you asked me the questions. Wahe Guru is a great chant to get in touch with yourself. It just means wow God, wow the divine in me, that sort of thing, that connection. So if you're working or talking to somebody and you're listening while saying Wahe Guru, it actually gets you more focused and gives light to the other person. But I know for me, when I noticed that my heart chakra was really starting to open, I was listening to forgiveness meditations for about 3 hours. No joke. Deepak Chopra and Doreen Virtue. And the way that it felt was I was sitting there. I had quit my job. I didn't have a job. I just knew that I had to go within and like clear some stuff out. And so I started feeling like this tingling and this warmness within my heart space. And so you feel it when you're having joy, like the most joyful moments when you're watching your kids or your pets, or you're traveling or doing the things that you want to do, or having joyful conversations with your best friend, that sort of stuff. And you feel it in your heart space. That's your heart chakra opening. And so for me, I had to do a lot of forgiveness with my family members and myself, obviously, for it to even like start feeling it. But now I can notice when I'm being open or I'm being closed, and because I've become so sensitive of like, oh, okay, like I know it's in my heart, or I know it's in my solar plexus, or I know it's in my root chakra, and that sort of thing. But yeah, there are different chants and stuff. The Sanskrit was, made up such a long time ago, but it resonates with the different subtle energies in our bodies. So saying those things, also, like I said, touching the meridians of the tongue. When you say Wahe Guru, you're touching the roof of your tongue, and that has meridians in the tongue to help open and yourself and expand yourself. So it's really beautiful. Yeah.
We've touched on a lot of really good information today. I think that anybody watching this has taken away a bunch of really good tips and insight onto how to love themselves more and to know their worth. Before we close out, is there any last quick thing that you want to add?
Yeah, thank you. If you can just give permission to your angelic energies around you that are there just waiting for you to ask permission or give permission. Saying a prayer to either Archangel Ariel, because she really is one of the empresses of nurturing and motherly energy. Asking Mother Earth to help you in releasing some of these energies. Even just to know that there are more ancient, very evolved angelic or Mother Earth energies, they're willing to help you with that. if you could just say, you know what, I just give it all to you. I just give it up. I give it up. I'm ready to energetically just throw up all this stuff. They're there to help you with it and to take it from you as much as they can, or as much as you'll allow them to. So just knowing that you do have the power of prayer and asking permission, giving them permission to help you with that. So don't ever think that you're alone. That's one of the biggest things too, is don't ever think you're alone in all this.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to add anything?
I just want to say, give yourself a break. Stop trying to think that you have to be perfect. Look at all of the people in your life and all the mistakes that they make, and you love them unconditionally no matter what. And so why is it so hard to give yourself that same love and acceptance and forgiveness? Because we're here to learn. We're here to make mistakes. We're here to try new things. We're here. I always say it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime, with everything in our life. And just because it's not a lifetime or because you don't figure it out doesn't mean that you messed up or that it was a failed anything. It's just the ebb and flow of life, and inhale, exhale, and let it go.
Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely.
I think, being gentle with yourself in the process, because learning how to love yourself isn't fun. It's very, very eye-opening, and some days you feel amazing. Oh my gosh, there's a rainbow outside, and I've seen all the hummingbirds today. And then the next day you could be like, oh my God, can I even get out of bed today? And so just knowing that that's part of the undoing and the unlearning of the, if we're vibrating so long at the place of not feeling enough or not feeling worthy, then that's going to be the dominant vibration that we're working from. So introducing being forgiving and loving yourself is going to take that time to build that momentum, because some of us have been living a lot with 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and so just really being patient with yourself on learning how to love yourself. Yeah.
And one last thing that I'll add, I was lucky enough to study with Lee Harris, and he's under Lee Harris Energy on YouTube, and he's amazing. And one thing that really stuck with me during the energy mastery class that I took with him, he said, if you're still alive, get curious. And so I would encourage everyone listening and tuning in to really get curious about your life and why you're here. You signed up to be here, and so do the work while you're here. It's why you're here. So, okay, so we're going to close out. So just give everybody one last mention of where they can find you and connect with you. So Brandy?
Oh, you can find me here at Spirit and Spark. You can go to the website, spiritandspark.com/practitioner page, and you'll see all of us on there, and a bio of what we do. So, if you're looking for a shaman session, you can find me there, or a psychic session, or a medium session, or Reiki certifications.
All the good stuff. Yeah. And Jen, probably Spirit and Spark
yes,
too.
You could also find me here. I teach yoga here tomorrow. I'm having a 9:30 a.m. class for all the Las Vegas locals. I will be working on the heart tomorrow. It's at Sunday, 9:30 a.m., March 3rd. So just in case this is someone's watching it and it's like, oh, it's tomorrow. It's not. So you can find me here. We do in-person, over-the-phone sessions, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Jenna.
So you can find me, you can follow me on, you can follow Style with a Cause if you want to watch for our debut, our announcement for this fall. And I also have my own Instagram, Jenna Doughton, or I have a website, jennadoughton.com. And pretty soon you'll be able to find me on casabeaumonde.com. So I'm launching a new shopping technology that is all about connection and helping women connect with like-minded people and shop and curate their closets, and that is all rolling out right now. So I'm really excited.
That is really exciting. And I'm Dallisa, spiritandspark.com. You can look at our complete class calendar on there and register for any of the classes or certifications. And the practitioners page, like it was mentioned, is where you can go and read our bios and purchase private sessions, whether it's in person in Las Vegas or over the phone. So thank you so much for joining us today with another episode of Saturdays with Spirit. And we'll be back again next week. Enjoy your day and just love yourself a little bit more. All right, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
I feel like we need to dance.